Good morning everyone. Today I am going to start a new chapter, that is coordinate geometry. So what is coordinate geometry, what is useful, where we are using the coordinate geometry, and many more things we are going to learn in this chapter. So before I start, what is coordinate geometry and where we are using coordinate geometry? Coordinate geometry is a branch of geometry which deals with the position of a point in a plane along with the coordinates. And this geometry is used to understand algebra using geometry, and also we can understand geometry using algebra. So the main content or objectives of this chapter are, here you can see, first you are going to learn introduction of Cartesian plane, and next in this introduction of Cartesian plane we already learnt in 8th or 7th standard about what is origin, what is x-axis, what is y-axis, what are the quadrants, how to locate a position, what are ordered pairs. So all these you are going to learn in this introduction of Cartesian plane. Next is distance formula. So this distance formula we learn how to find distance between any two points in a Cartesian plane using a formula. Next is section formula. Section formula helps you to find a point when a line segment is divided in a certain ratio. And next, coming to midpoint formula. Midpoint formula helps you to find the exactly middle point of a given line segment. Next, at last, we are going to learn area of triangle. As you know, normally area of triangle in geometry is half into base into height. So here we are using algebra and finding area of triangle in case of Cartesian plane. Now introduction to Cartesian plane. So if I ask you one question, children, suppose if I ask you in your classroom, what is the position, means where you are sitting in your class, what is the seating arrangement of your place in your classroom. So how you are going to explain to a person if anyone asks you. So like you can't tell I am sitting on the right side or the left side or the bottom or the down. So instead of, suppose, see this is the classroom, suppose think that you are sitting here. How will you tell your position or a place in your classroom to another person? So you cannot use the words I am sitting on the left of the wall, right of the wall or bottom of the wall. So instead of these words, we need certain perfect words to explain or locate a position or describe a position in a plane. So one day a mathematician called René Descartes. So he is a French mathematician called René Descartes. So he was lying on a bed and he was just thinking how to describe a position in a plane. So in that way he started introducing a new plane that is called as Cartesian plane. So what is the meaning of Cartesian plane, how he introduced and how he located. The main idea behind to introduce the Cartesian plane is to describe a position in a different plane, and he used the idea of longitudes or latitudes to describe the position in a new plane. So what is that? So let me take one example here. So here if I ask you to tell your position in this classroom, you are unable to tell here because I don't have any rows or columns. So if I divide this classroom into certain rows and columns like this. So I have divided here. This is the first row, second row, third row, fourth row. And these are the columns. First column, second column, third column and fourth column. Think that you are sitting in this bench, and if I ask you where you are sitting, compared to that, here at least you can try to tell where is your position in your classroom. So I can ask you, so in which column you are sitting? You are sitting in a third column and fourth row, means you are sitting in a third column and fourth row, means in third column and fourth row is your position where you are sitting in your class. So keeping this rows and columns in mind, and let us move further in detail what is the meaning of Cartesian plane, what René Descartes used instead of rows and columns, what he has used to describe the position of a point in a plane. Now let us learn in detail the terms we use in a Cartesian plane. So first, x-axis. What is x-axis? The horizontal number line. So this is called horizontal number line. X dash O X is called horizontal number line, is also called as x-axis. Next term is y-axis. The vertical number line y, O, y dash is called Vertical number line is also called as y-axis. When x-axis and y-axis meet at a point, this point of intersection of these two axes is called as origin. Next, coming to what is meaning of x coordinate and y coordinate. Already I told you to describe a position in a plane we need two coordinates, that is x coordinate and y coordinate. What is meaning of x coordinate and y coordinate? So here I located a point, here I have taken 2, 3. So before I explain using help of rows and columns. So let me explain you what is the meaning of x coordinate. X coordinate is also called as abscissa. The distance of a point P. If I ask you what is the distance of a point P from y-axis. So you can see here Pn or NP. How many units? NP is parallel to OM, that is 2 units. So the distance of a point P from y-axis is how many units? 2 units. This we call it as x coordinate. This we call it as x coordinate. The distance of a point P from y-axis is called as x coordinate. Similarly, what is y coordinate? Y coordinate is also called as ordinate. The distance of a point P from x-axis. Nothing but what is the height here? PM. PM is parallel to, that is YO, that is NO. So how many units? 1, 2, 3. So 3 units. The distance of a point P from x-axis is 3 units, that is called as y coordinate. So the distance of a point P from x-axis is also called as y coordinate or ordinate. So when x coordinate and y coordinate together are called as coordinates, and it is also called as ordered pair. So this is the point we use to locate a point in a plane. So the x, y within the bracket, this we call it as ordered pair. Now what are the coordinates of this point where x-axis and y-axis meets? We call it as origin. What are the coordinates of the origin? You can observe here the x value of the origin is also 0 and y value of the origin is also 0. So the coordinates of the origin are 0, 0. Then what about on x-axis? Here you can see 1. So 1, how will you represent in a coordinate form? X value is 1. What about y value? There is no y value here. This point, how will you represent this point as an ordered pair? 1, 0, because there is no y value. Similarly, how will you represent 2? 2 can be written as 2, 0. 3 can be written as 3, 0. Here similarly minus 1, 0, minus 2, 0 and minus 3, 0. So if you observe the x-axis, what you are observing here? Y value in all the ordered pairs, y value is 0. So in other words, on x-axis, y value remains 0. That is x, 0 represents x-axis. Always x, 0 represents x-axis. X may be any integer. Now, what about y-axis? On y-axis, 1. How will you write 1 in the form of ordered pair? This 1 is on y-axis, so there is no value of x-coordinate. Therefore, x-coordinate is 0, y-coordinate is 1. And here x-coordinate is 0, y-coordinate is 2. Similarly, here x-coordinate is 0 and y-coordinate is 3. So, when you observe here, the x-coordinate remains 0 and y-coordinate changes. So, y, or 0, y represents y-axis. So, on y-axis, x value is 0. So, I repeat, on x-axis, y value remains 0. On y-axis, x value remains 0. In other words, x, 0 represents x-axis and 0, y represents y-axis. Next, coming to the different, see, this is a plane. This is called a Cartesian plane. The Cartesian plane is divided into 4 parts. Each part is called as a quadrant. What is meaning of quadrant? Quadrant or a quarter is nothing but 1/4. Quadrant is nothing but 1/4 of the plane. So it is divided into 4 parts. So this part of the plane, that is x, o, y plane, is called as first quadrant, and x dash o y is called as second quadrant, and X dash O Y dash is called as third quadrant and X O Y dash is called as fourth quadrant. Then how the ordered pairs look in different quadrants. Coming to that point, the first quadrant, you can see in this plane, you can see the ordered pairs have only X value as positive value and similarly the Y is also positive. So plus comma plus ordered pairs represents first quadrant. And coming to the second quadrant, on x-axis you can see the negative numbers and on y-axis you have positive numbers. So minus comma plus represents second quadrant. And coming to third quadrant, the x-axis is negative and y-axis is also negative. So the ordered pairs of the form minus minus represents third quadrant. And here fourth quadrant, the x-axis is positive and y-axis is negative. So plus comma minus represents fourth quadrant. So I repeat, plus plus represents first quadrant and minus plus ordered pairs represents second quadrant, minus minus represents third quadrant and plus minus represents fourth quadrant.